to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Welcome everybody, this is Joe from Startuprad.io bringing you a Wirecard special from this month in German startups. We are recording this on the 24th of June. That means first, it's summer, it's hot, Chris and I are wearing short. Secondly, it means there are only 6 months left until Christmas. And third, there is, as always, Christian here with me live and direct from New York. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. New York is holding up well. We are over the Rona, and now the other US states look worse, but we will see what happens. It's slowly opening up here. But we have bigger fish to fry, as they say, because Wirecard is making really, really big headlines in Germany, and you looked into it. So probably you can tell us first, what is Wirecard doing exactly?
Well, Wirecard, let me get this straight here. Wirecard is a company processing payments. The company works as an intermediary and guarantor between buyers and sellers and takes commissions on all transactions. They have about 5,000 employees and actually replaced Commerzbank. We will talk about them later in our This Month in German Startups recording in DAX 30. Germany's equivalent of the Dow Jones Industrial Average or DJIA. They are also the first fintech who ever achieved this. The big problem is now that there are accounts missing, which should hold approximately 1.9 billion euros, which is 2.2 billion US dollars in cash. So these 1.9 billion are in their balance sheet, but they probably don't exist. But let's back up a little bit. Christian, we have some story there behind, right? There was a fight between the Financial Times and Wirecard.
Yeah, so the whole story has been going on for quite a while because the situation there was quite mysterious has been quite mysterious for a couple of weeks now. So we also started writing about Wirecard and the coverage of the Financial Times of the company in May. We have a blog post about that. But basically, it all started in January 2019. And the story started with a manager of Wirecard accused by the Financial Times of money laundering and fraud. There have been other articles, but all this has led to a special audit of Wirecard by KPMG. Wirecard in Germany is audited by EY, formerly Ernst & Young, and the KPMG report said that Wirecard did not deliver all documents, or those that they delivered were oftentimes months too late. Then for the audit of transaction data of 2016 and 17, assistance from TPA partners was required, but failed to materialize. Several documents have been obtained by KPMG only in copy and almost exclusively in electronic copies, and they couldn't be further verified. Then there was a third-party business. KPMG did not receive sufficient documents to make a forensic investigation in the transactions related to third-party business 2016 to 2018. And then escrow accounts worth 1 billion euros had not sufficiently proven payments in.
Exactly. That was all like, you can imagine you're always in a losing proposition when you're an auditor, because you always have to look very carefully at each and every accounting booking, especially the big ones. But we all know humans make mistakes and you can only lose if you oversee something. But when you have a special audit of one of your audit clients, of course, you have to look more thoroughly. Therefore, this led the auditor, EY, looking even more closely in the 29 balance sheet and demanding more documentation. This, in turn, unraveled a potentially devastating accounting scandal for Wirecard, since the company could not produce sufficient proof that their 1.9 billion euros cash claimed to be with trustees in the Philippines actually existed. The CEO, Markus Braun, had to step down immediately, and the publication of the 2019 balance sheet has to be postponed again. You can read more in the second blog article we have there. And developing story today, we found a wrap up. Basically, this reads: in latest developments, Wirecard had to admit that the 1.9 billion euros likely do not exist. So the company itself admitted this. The share price has been trading above 140 as recently as mid of February, and it crashed down to 13 euros. 13. Bank of America, who's covering this the shares as an analyst, forecasted a corrected price target of €1 per share. And Mr. Braun, the CEO, Markus Braun, who had to step down, also contributed to the decline by having to sell shares in order to meet margin calls. Mr. Braun is currently on bail of €5 million and has to visit the police on a weekly basis.
Yeah. So, I mean, to sum it up, you have whenever you buy something and Wirecard supports the system there, which Wirecard actually does because it's working in the background of a lot of transactions in Germany, online, but also offline in coffee shops, etc. What Wirecard did was it guaranteed that the money will actually flow. And in order to guarantee that, the company itself needed to have some security money stashed away somewhere in case some of the money didn't come through that they guaranteed. This stashed away guarantee money was supposedly in the Philippines, and one of the in those accounts that was like 1.9 billion euros in cash. So that was basically the part of the money with which they guaranteed that their whole system or that their whole business would be running. And now no one knows where this money is. So it's really wild. And I think what's also interesting is that this really has big implications for the startup ecosystem in Germany as a whole, because as you said, it's the first fintech in DAX and in the DAX index, and it's also like I mean, Germany takes pride in the fintech market, and Germany thinks that fintech is probably our like beacon industry, that we can actually be ahead of everyone else in the world. And now we see that, it's not probably only this one company that has an issue, but also the auditors around it, or that people are wondering how much of the whole system is actually affected by it.
Yes, personal forecast, it will be much tougher for other fintechs to be either listed or approached like SDAX, MDAX, and the big DAX. As you can imagine, one is for medium and one is for small caps. And but on the other hand, the ones who can meet that threshold, they'll be most likely meeting all the standards and also likely to be successful, but likely is not certain. Chris, we will promise our audience to keep them updated, and we will write blog post if there's something more developing there, right?
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise. Thank you very much, and see you later in this month in German Startups.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.